We consider this
Elton John?
podcast to be therapy for Wayne.
No, I'm not a Elton John fan. Again, some of his tracks are good, but I just...
That's an interesting point. Are we continuing to talk or not?
This is what I like to call a soft open.
Yeah, don't think about that too much.
Yeah.
On that particular subject, Elton John, Glastonbury last year. Listen,
I was there.
were you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question then. In my opinion, watching it on TV, and let me finish,
Someone going to interrupt.
I thought Elton John was certainly not at his best. He struggled. He waddled on stage. He was a bit of a sad character, but you cannot take away his catalogue of phenomenal songs, written superbly, and he performed them okay. I mean, the guy is fucking amazing if you just look at what he's done, but the actual performance was a little bit sad in my opinion. But I'm glad he did it because he was like, this is me done now, guys. Thank you. And I thought he was amazing, and I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad he did it. It was brilliant. But
he's not done it, has he? He's not finished.
no, but he should be.
Yeah.
Well, he should have, yeah.
I mean, some of his songs are brilliant. Some of his songs, he's got some really good tracks out there. I'm just not a fan of them. I like the songs, but I don't like the artist.
Yeah.
He's going to do like 2 or 3 shows 1 year in that venue, not travel. He's not going to tour, but he's still going to do our gig.
He should have just bowed out. He should have just called
None
it
of
a
them
day.
do those.
They can't.
Why do they keep going? You know, you almost think, stop it.
But they can't.
Stop it.
They don't know. They've spent, it's like Keith Richards has spent all his adult life on road. He don't know what to do. He's lost when he comes off at road.
Yeah.
He don't know what to do. That's not his natural environment anymore.
Get Derby.
Yeah.
Play golf.
He has.
Like Alec.
It's called gig. It's called
Imagine Keith
gigging.
Richards playing golf. I can't see Keith playing golf.
No. But, you know, if you talk about piano music, which you don't like, Wayne, I mean, piano is the fundamental instrument of all music. It's where everyone, you know, even more than guitar, it's the root of where music, for most people, starts. So, you know, if you do get into music, piano is the first thing as a child you focused on. So I don't
I
understand how
would
you
have said that
can't.
with drums. I would, because a lot of people that we know want to start out life as drummer. And they went to guitar or they went to piano, but they want to start out as drummers.
I did.
A lot of people.
I did at 17.
There you go.
What is that then? Is it just is it that
'Cause it's easy to
physicality of
do.
just like thrashing and?
It's not too complicated.
Well, I don't know about that. I've tried to play drums and it's
It's
hard.
all
Once
limbs
you've
moving
got
independent.
independence,
Yeah.
then, you know, it's not as complicated as music, piano, guitar, or other instruments.
it's like saying once your fingers know what to do on the guitar, it's not that bad.
It plays itself.
It plays itself.
No,
No,
I can
it
tell you
don't.
firsthand. No, it's hard. But it's repetition, practice. What's that saying? If you can do 22,000 hours of practice, you're good at anything. Something like that.
10,000 hours.
Or is it 10,000 hours?
10,000
I
hours,
apologise.
yeah.
It's me exaggerating again. I'm an ex-salesman.
10,000.
I'm an ex-salesman, sorry.
10,000 hours to get good at something, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Is it 10?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Oh, there's that one what I've used before, but
So-
no one even heard it.
so-
How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
So, boys,
Practice.
how good are you at recognising music from the first 2 or 3 chords?
Can't be all right.
Yeah, get there.
Now, if I said to you,
It depends what genre, I think.
I could play you an original track, and for the first couple of seconds, that would be too easy. It'd be far too easy. But if I played, as I've done on the guitar, the first couple of chords, would you be able to recognise the song?
Well,
Well-known songs that everybody knows.
there is an issue with this. The mics won't pick them up because they have cancellation on.
Cancellation.
So if we've tried it before, you put the mic, they won't pick up.
okay.
Yeah.
But you can sync it to here.
But I have to pair it, so I have to stop and pair it though.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. It's not that great. I just thought it would be interesting to see
It would.
how good you
Yeah.
are.
And I like
at
that game.
recognising it.
Yeah, it
Because my missus recognised out of 10 numbers, only 4. And it's obvious what they are.
People have their. It tends to be like people have their sweet spot in decades, don't they? Like 70s, 80s, and 90s and stuff like that. People have the little pockets. I tend to be all right at the 70s, I think, from where I've done it, like on car journeys with my friend. Here's a question for you, though.
And it's not your era, though, is it?
No. I mean, I don't know. What is your era when you've got Spotify, right?
Well, we've all got the same record collection.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, we've all got the same record collection. So we've all got access to everybody else's record collection nowadays. So it's no good having, I've got racks and racks of...
You're right. I just went, as I said a million times, I've just been to a Cardinal Black concert. They were selling their CDs and albums. I went with our guitarist who bought the vinyl and got all the band to sign it. That's great. But for me, I didn't buy any. Didn't buy CD, didn't buy... Why? Because I've already downloaded it. And I don't want some stuff. I just want access.
Do you know there was a recent survey done in America whereby 50% of all vinyl sales purchased in America, the people that bought them haven't got equipment to play them on.
Wow.
Yeah, well, indeed.
I think people are seeing things like that like a collector's item.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's for.
Because-
I mean, that blows
yeah.
your mind, doesn't it?
The research has already been
Why
done
do
that
that?
people like where they don't
why
unpackage
do that?
things, just leave it in
Yeah, I
sleep.
don't get that.
Which is a shame, you know. I think, especially vinyls, I think they're a tactile thing.
Yeah. I've come to a conclusion about what I like vinyls. And you asked me the question, well, would you buy this? Would you buy? Yeah, I would buy it. I'd buy a vinyl and put it on the wall because I like the
Which
covers.
a lot of people do, because it's art.
Yeah, it is art. It is art.
It's art. In fact, it's iconic art. Just show somebody the Dark Side of the Moon album, they know instantly what it is, who it's by, what it's about.
Yeah.
It's iconic art.
I love it. I would buy it. I'm glad it's making a comeback, it's resurgence, and people are buying it, not necessarily to play, but just to hold and to keep it as a piece of artwork. And it's great, that, I think.
Yeah, but there's a flip side to that.
And that is?
When you've been divorced twice, you lose it all.
I'll bear that one in mind then.
I'm actually over having stuff.
Stuff.
Stuff is just stuff.
You're fed up again stuff away.
Yeah.
Stuff is just stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of icons, then,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson and the Pepsi commercial he did in the 80s. Remember
The leather jacket
that?
is
this-
up for auction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much would you pay for a leather jacket that Michael Jackson wore for a Pepsi commercial in the 80s?
It depends how much you're worth, how much disposable income you have.
That is true.
Well, they're saying it's going to go between 200 and 400,000.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I'd go for more than that.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah.
That's,
Do you reckon it goes for
yeah,
more?
I
yeah,
think more than that.
that's what they're going
Based
for.
on
I think
based on what John Lennon has sold, not him personally, but his remnants, if you like, and they've gone with Sotheby's for millions. Millions. So I think that's a very low figure.
Is this the same auction that there's a load of stuff? Kurt Cobain's cardigan.
Yeah, there's things
Yeah,
like
is
that.
that the
same one?
Yeah,
Eric
there's some-
Clapton's guitar, isn't it?
There's one of his. Isn't
Oh,
there?
that's millions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if he was dead, he'd be millions.
Well, yeah.
The thing is with things, when you buy someone's guitar like that, I'm trying to get in the mind of a collector. Like, you wouldn't want to play it because the thought process would be, well, were they the last hands to touch it? But they won't be, because somebody would have played it before, somebody would have cleaned it down, right?
Yeah.
I'd want if
Be a new
I'm
set
going
of
to pay,
strings on it.
if I'm going to put $1 million
Might not
quid
be,
on
though.
it, I'd
Might
want
not.
to
Might-
see.
it
I
might have-
want to be able to dust it for his fingerprints.
Might have original strings, might have.
Do you reckon?
There'll be some DNA somewhere, but you're not looking for that, are you?
I don't,
no,
I don't
but you're
understand
not- but
the
you're
whole.
not
I don't
buying it for
understand
that,
the whole
yeah.
issue. I don't understand why.
But how would you know?
What? Well, if it was squeaky clean, I'd be disappointed. I'd like to see some blood on the scratch plate.
Well, Paul, this is an interesting subject about guitars, because I bought guitars. I love guitars which are clean, shiny, beautiful, pristine, nice. Paul Woodcock in our band, he only loves guitars which are beaten up, scratched, worn, look like shit, and they fetch huge amounts of money. Because they call them relics, or they call them
it's a
reissues,
relic
or whatever.
reissue, isn't it?
And,
Yeah.
and
It's character.
some of the stuff. I mean, he's got an SRV, which is Stevie Ray Vaughan, looks like shit. But it's revered after. And he sold it for like thousands. Literally, he sold the one that he made that looked like it for thousands.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. But I think that's a situation that guitar players find themselves
I don't
in,
like
rather
shiny guitars.
Oh,
No, I don't.
I like everything shiny.
You'd be afraid to like to damage it. Like if you get if you accidentally scratch it, you'll be gutted. But
Yeah, I like my guitars nice and clean and shiny.
Well, that doesn't surprise me in the least.
All my guitars are all polished and
That
cleaned
doesn't
and
surprise
shiny.
me.
Yeah.
if you can't see your arsehole in
shiny
it, you're not
guitar.
interested.
I probably clean them once a week. All lot of this. Yeah.
No.
Oh no, mine hang on a wall near there for months.
No.
I don't actually. That's the other thing. When do you actually play? In fact, brings me to another subject. Chris Buck, his Friday Fret performances. Very knowledgeable guy. He, on his last podcast, focused on that very subject. He has a brand new PRS, and he's had it. Oh, he bought it brand new, and he's had it for a while. And he's touring. He said, of all his guitars, it's the perfect guitar. It's perfect, the most perfect guitar. But he never plays it. Why? Because it doesn't give him the character or the feel or whatever. But it's the most perfect guitar he's got. So it's about, from guitarists, and I don't consider myself a guitarist, but from a guitarist point of view, it's what makes them. It's whatever makes them happy. It's Chris Buck, a phenomenal guitarist. But he's admitted the guitar is perfect. It's the most perfect guitar he's got. But he never plays it.
That's interesting, that. And it makes me think of when people talk about the difference between electric and petrol cars. Technically, an electric car is perfect. It can accelerate faster. There's no gears. It's just boof. But there's a romance to a petrol car. The smell, the clunking into the gears, the noise, the resistance that you have to work with an engine, or you have to work against something. And maybe that's the same with a guitar. Maybe it's the resistance, the struggle that you have.
And here again is the key word, emotion.
Emotion. Yes, you're taking the emotion out of it if it's perfect.
Yep.
There's a line in Frasier where he says, what's better than a perfect steak is out somewhere having a meal with Niles. And they both go, a steak with something slightly wrong with it. And it's because with an imperfect steak, you can bitch about it all night. There you go.
Yeah, well, I get that. I get your point. That you do. There has to be some struggle to get reward, don't there?
Yeah.
It's like we all want to pick guitar up and be our heroes, and it's not going to happen because that's why they're here, our heroes, because there's only them capable of doing what they can do.
Well, they all have their own individual style and
They all
character.
have their technique, and you can pick one from, not necessarily pick every guitarist, you pick them out from other, but there's certain guitarists you can definitely, as soon as they strike up, you know who they are.
You know who they are.
You know who they are. And it doesn't come naturally. You expect to pick a guitar up and you're away. No. Hours and hours and hours of sitting in your bedroom, learning what you have to learning your scales and your chords and the capability of being able to do it. And that's the struggle, isn't it? That and the reward is that people try and follow you because they like what you've done. So we all try and emulate that by learning to play guitar. I gave up on that years ago. I just like whatever I can do, and I haven't picked a guitar up in months. I mean, you've got all these guitars. You play yours every day, and you're not Stevie Ray Vaughan.
No, but I don't. But
Stevie Ray Vaughan wishes it was you.
yeah, he does.
He does.
He does.
Because he wouldn't be dead.
Yes.
Unfortunately, yeah. What he would have become later on in life, I don't know.
Still Stevie Ray Vaughan, probably, unless, one
No,
day.
it would still have been Stevie Ray Vaughan, but you know what I mean? What we always have this question, don't we?
What could have been?
I wonder what they would have done. What would they continue to do?
I reckon he would have collaborated with the Cheeky Girls. Yeah, I can see
well,
that.
And be called the cheeky Stevie
That's
Ray
all.
Vaughan.
Their big hit was just missing a big Stevie Ray Vaughan solo.
Yeah.
My
But
opinion.
going back to art, so we see Sharon Osbourne is opening an Ozzy Osbourne museum in Birmingham.
Oh.
And there'll be all his memorabilia, right, dating all the way back down to Earth, all the way through. There'll be his costumes, his clothes
surprised
there that
that
he's
someone's
worn on
kept them.
stage. There'll be albums via himself through Black Sabbath.
The quad bike he crashed on.
There's going to be all type of stuff in it. There's going to be a little cafe. We can go and get a coffee and look at old memorabilia that's going to be all
It's
around
not a
walls.
temporary event then. It's a permanent structure.
Oh, it's a permanent.
Shrine.
Yeah, it's going to be like a shrine to
It's
Ozzy.
like burnt down candles.
And it's,
Are they expecting a black moment anytime soon then?
I don't know.
Well,
But
it sounds that way.
That's
doesn't
what
it?
she's
She's
doing.
getting it done before it happens.
Well, he is being treated now for blood clots, isn't he?
He's not a well man.
Isn't he having one last operation for his back? Apparently,
No,
the reason for it
he
is
had
like-
that, didn't he, last year?
Is it last year?
Yeah.
I thought he was having another one.
Yeah, because he did Super Bowl, didn't he? And he were in that.
He did Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, the Super
Oh, I
Bowl
didn't
one.
know.
He did the Black Sabbath did it.
I didn't know.
Oh no, sorry, it was Olympic Games. It was Summer Games.
Right. Commonwealth.
Were it Commonwealth or Olympics?
Yeah, I
One
think
of
it
them.
was Commonwealth in
Yeah.
Birmingham, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was them, and it wasn't he like nailed to a support or something like that to
Yeah.
keep his back
Proper.
where he wanted because he came up out the floor, didn't he? But he couldn't move off of this stabilize this scaffolding on back that were holding him upright.
Well, that was the idea.
Yeah. So I think he's had that, but apparently this week he's been treated for blood clots.
Wow. It's
Yeah,
mad
it's
to
a
see these
shame.
people get old and,
Yeah.
And also they've done the big mechanical bull.
Oh,
in
yes,
Birmingham,
yes,
and
they named it Ozzy.
they've named it Ozzy.
Yeah.
That's been unveiled.
But
over
they're
the last
actually
few weeks.
in Birmingham. The start. There's a. Let me get this right. Is it an opera?
The Oswald Osborne Opera.
No, it's Black Sabbath actually.
Oh.
It's Black Sabbath, and they're setting it to classical music.
Really?
Yeah, and they're going to tour it, and it's. They've already tried it, and it's done well. And they're touring it, and
It
it's
works.
selling out.
setting it.
And apparently, the music that they've done, the classical music, the versions of their songs that they've done, they're very, very good, apparently.
Who's saying this?
That's right.
Who's saying this? Sharon.
No, Sharon will tell you anything. No, the general public, the general consensus is that it's very good, surprisingly good. It's because it's not Tony Iommi, and it's not really shouting
Right.
out. It's that musical theme, elaborated and orchestrated. So yeah, I suppose you're going to get away with that with a lot of bands, really, aren't you? But
Yeah.
apparently
that's going to tour, and it's toured. It started off in Birmingham.
Well, another big tour that's coming out is Madonna.
Oh yes, the
She's
40
doing-
years.
Yeah, but on this tour, she's going to be performing 40 hits a night. Over 40 hits a night.
Is that
massive.
That's a
How long's that gig then?
That's a long set, that, isn't it?
well? Yeah, but hold on. There might be medleys there.
Yeah, there's got to be.
Yeah.
No artist of her age
No.
has that much of stamina. That's
Yeah.
at 40. So that's going to be, if you average about on a
It's about 3.5 minutes into a track.
in between and all the theatricals to go with it, I would say that's minimum 4 hours.
Yeah.
Minimum 4 hours.
But that's what she's
She's
doing.
not going to be doing that.
No, she's not doing that. There'll be medleys in
She's
there.
doing
And
over
that's a lot
over
of
40
tracks.
hits.
And my question is, how many of them will she actually be singing?
Ooh, drama.
Oh.
Have
She's
you
not
s-
going to sing them all.
I've seen a photo of her recently, a few photos. I think she's been in Manchester, and she's sporting some of those fly glasses that Bono used to wear in the 90s.
She's just hired out, hasn't
What's she had done?
Gary Neville's hotel.
Has he got a hotel?
Gary Neville, yeah. Him and I think it's Giggsy.
Is it in Manchester?
Yeah.
Is it called Gotham?
It
Gotham?
might
Gotham's
be.
called the Gotham.
I
There's a
might-
great hotel in Manchester called the Gotham
It
Hotel.
might be,
It's beautiful.
actually.
Is that because, is there an area in Manchester called Hell's Kitchen? Which has got something to do with Batman, hasn't it?
Don't ask me.
Oh.
Hell's
okay.
Kitchen, that's Mad Chef, innit? What they call it?
Yeah, but
Gordon
I
Ramsay.
think that's got something to do. Sorry, this is a different tangent. I'm not even a DC or whatever it is, Marvel person, but anyway, music,
Music.
hotels,
Going back to Ozzy,
Yeah.
he doesn't need the money.
doesn't it?
No,
No, he don't need the money because
No.
he used to sell
no.
toy bats with a detachable head.
I mean, that's classy.
Classy, classy. He used to sell toy bats. Well, you still get them on eBay, they're 15 quid. Yours should be here next week. But obviously we know why he sells toy bars, or why Sharon sells toy bars.
From the back of a car.
When he was asked about the biting of a bat, he says it's like biting a crunchy wrapped in a chamois leather.
That's a good description. That's good. Yeah.
So we all know the guy.
We all know what that tastes like now, don't we?
Ooh, we all know the guy John Lee Hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you probably know this story. So apparently one of his favourite breakfasts was bacon and egg. And his other favourite breakfast were cornflakes. So apparently what he used to do is cut his bacon and egg up small and tip them into his cornflakes and eat them all out of one bowl with a spoon for his breakfast.
I don't know where to go with that one.
No. Freak.
That's a bit weird.
Sick bag.
Yeah, yeah. Bacon
Well,
and egg
whatever
and
turns you on.
cornflakes.
You know, when you talk about icons of the rock industry, like Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper, you know, all these crazy guys.
AC, as we call him on here.
Daniel O'Donnell.
Yeah. Daniel O'Donnell. Yeah.
What springs to mind is the fantastic stories that they've got to tell.
Yeah.
And I know they're all written books and all the rest of it, but there's a podcast that, another podcast.
There is
How
another
dare-
podcast?
How very
Another
dare
one?
you? And it's one of the guys from, what's his name? It's called the Rock On Tours.
Oh, yes.
it's a good name.
It's Guy Pratt.
Guy Pratt and
Gary,
Gary.
the kid from Spandau Ballet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at
Gary.
him.
Oh,
Gary.
yeah.
Kemp.
Kemp. That's
Kemp,
him, yeah.
that's him, yeah.
I've been listening to that for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And they have some fantastic stories on there. And they did actually have a lot of, because obviously the two guys that host the podcast get these guests on, and the other thing is they're all connected. They all know everybody, and they've all got these stories, and they go off on tangents, and they tell
Well,
these
Guy Pratt's played with most of them.
exactly.
Oh, well, it sounds fantastic.
But the point I'm making is, I'm not trying to promote anybody else. But my point I'm making is that these icons have such incredible lives, and the things that they've done in their lives are just you can't make it up half the time.
That is a good point, actually, because maybe we don't give the actual stories enough, which adds to the iconography. Like when we talk about David Bowie, a lot of the things to talk about with David Bowie is some of the things he's done, some of the people he's worked with, the things he's worn, the things he said.
But have you noticed, so it's all within that circle of people?
It's a big bloody circle.
Yeah, but they're all in that same industry. You never seen, oh, David Bowie, oh yeah, me and my mate, who I used to go to school with since I was 3-year-old, we once went to Port. You never hear any stories like that.
We do.
It's always
You do.
stories about me and Sid Vicious, or me and Freddie Mercury, and it's all stories within that circle.
Yeah, because it's more because the consumer
Yeah.
wants to hear those stories.
Yeah,
They're not as
it's-
interested in his mate from school.
It's all.
You know what I mean?
I will listen, and
You
I
know.
can't remember who it were now. It's annoying
very
me
small-
because
it's a
I'm going to
very
just
small
deflate
circle
your
that they
balloons
actually
there,
live in.
because he was saying that his good friend. Oh, who is it? Don't matter. His good friend. He still knocks about with his mate that he went to school with, and they're still mates, and they still do this, and they still go out and have a drink, and they still go down at the pub, and they still talk about music. And I can't remember who the devil it is. So this bit of conversation is useless. But you do get them stories.
Yeah, you don't get many though.
It wasn't him, but he's related some stories about his past, and he's still friends with a lot of people from North East. Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
Oh, it does happen,
Does
but what I'm saying is, it's all mainly all about stories that you hear. Is all to do with other band members or other band members of another group or managers or this.
Well, these
other
things are like
promoters.
spectacular because they're
But although they're that big, I always seem it's a very small circle that they live in.
But it's an area that
They all live in a bubble.
we
It's
find
their
fascinating,
bubble.
though.
Yeah.
But then bubbles do collide all the time.
I don't think it does. I don't think there's much interactive outside of the circle of famous.
You'd be surprised. I think they're all mates when they don't ignore each other. They're all interacting with each other.
No, but I just don't think like you won't get. I don't know, Ozzy going out with people back in Birmingham,
I think,
going
Wayne,
out
I think Wayne, that it might happen.
down pubs for
But
a drink and talking or going up.
Well, they can't do that anymore.
Well, I think
What's
that's
the
what I'm saying.
famous? But they do interact with other musicians.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. That's all they seem to do. They don't go and interact with the other people
No, I think
outside
the exposure's
of
not there, and they maybe
outside
do
of that
but
circle.
it's not that interesting to the general public. So the exposure's not there. So the stories are not there.
I just think it's a small circle that they actually live in.
And if you're talking about dating circles, like I can understand why a musician may go out with an actor or whatever, or vice versa.
No,
But because like they're on tour and they're doing press junkets, like there's a certain like pace of life, or sometimes they'll be away for a long time. Like if you're, I don't know, if you work in a Tesco Express, you can be annoyed because Bowie's out on tour again. Like, you know, those
They've got
circles
to
just,
understand the lifestyle, haven't they?
yeah. It's, yeah.
And
No, I'm
it
not
must
knocking. I'm not.
Be it must be difficult for anybody that's not
Yeah.
in that lifestyle to come into that lifestyle and accept it.
And plus, not everyone wants to be famous, as hard as it is to believe. Like, imagine going out with somebody who's super famous and you're like, I don't want to be famous. Like, let's, for example, a little-known podcaster, Joe Rogan.
You don't get many listeners.
Well, he doesn't get, it's a small guy. It's up and coming. You want to check him out. But he never mentions his wife, and you never see his wife anywhere because you don't want to be known. And that's got to be difficult for someone who's so recognizable to be going to the shops with or go out for a meal with. You know, the room changes when a famous person walks in. You don't always want that, especially if you don't.
Oh no, I'm just saying. As big as these people are in the stories, they all seem to circle around a set of friends, and they're all in that business with each other. It's
Inbred like the royal family. Not my words.
They're all like
Shaking Stevens.
I just think that circle that they live in, as big as you think it is, it's actually very small.
I agree with you, absolutely. Because that's the life they lead.
Yeah.
They don't have interaction with people outside of that bubble most of the time.
And I know half of them can't. They just can't do it because, you know, you wouldn't have got Jacko walking dog round.
Even relationships, you
Yeah,
know,
it's just-
half of them end up with their backing singers or their publicist or their A&R people in the record company or whatever, or other people who are equally famous, like film stars or whatever, because it is a small enclosed community that they don't very often kind of get the exposure out of.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just can't come out of that small circle, can they?
So is that good or is that bad?
For me, I think it's bad.
Is it because Sandra Bullock doesn't return your calls? Is what this has come from?
Has she stopped talking to you again?
She's blocked me.
I don't think it's a contrived situation. I think it's just something that.
I just think it's bad for them, isn't it? It's, you know, they have to.
I don't think
they have to
so,
keep within
Rose,
that bubble, and they can't go and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
They can't.
One of the downsides of fame, my friend.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I have a little bit of news.
But sorry to interrupt you, Louis. But what they can't do is say to me, "Oh, I can't get on a bus anymore. I can't go down to a local shop." This is a life you wanted.
Yeah.
This is a life you strive for.
They knew what they were getting into.
You got it. Don't complain about it.
Yeah.
Do you hear that? Do you hear it?
So bear that in mind,
Yeah.
person.
So there's a guy who's a lawyer and a musician, and what he's done is worked with another guy on creating this algorithm that has taken the 8 notes of music, and he has got this algorithm, this AI, to create every known melody that you can make. Right?
Okay.
It's created like millions and millions of melodies using these 8 notes, and he's copyrighted them. And the purpose for him copyrighting it is,
No, I see where this is going.
and the purpose for him copyrighting this is that nobody in the future can then sue somebody for copying somebody else's melody
Whoa.
because he owns it.
No, whoa. There's recently been an Ed Sheeran court case,
This has been afterwards. This is afterwards.
and it was established in that court case, as I have seen on his own in a YouTube clip actually, that as Ed Sheeran proved in court and was vilified, basically, you cannot patent or at all a chord structure because it's been done before even pop music,
But that's-
even in history, it's all been done. You can't You can't patent
But that's
it.
the chord structure. But a melody like the Beatles yesterday, so that's been owned. That melody's been owned. If somebody tries to copy that, like so, Coldplay got sued by Joe Satriani because one of their songs had the same melody.
Copied the melody.
This guy has copyrighted all these melodies using AI, but the purpose is for him doing it is so that he can give it away for free, so nobody else in the future can sue somebody else for stealing somebody else's melody, because he already owns it, and he's letting it go for free.
Because there's always this.
To
copied.
come out of these things like Ed Sheeran's
He's copied Marvin Gaye's groove. Well, he hasn't.
Well, I don't know how it relates to chord progressions or grooves, but melodies is specifically what this guy's done.
Well, that's going to be interesting how it plays out. I don't know.
It's interesting how AI has been
got a legal
utilised.
handle on it, then they can't touch your can.
Well, if it's copyrighted, he's managed to successfully copyright it.
I thought you were going to say that he's going to sue everybody inside.
No, well, that's what I was alluding to.
Yeah.
But it's actually doing some good. So it's interesting how AI is already implementing its way into the music industry from a legal perspective.
Yeah. How do you feel about AI within music? Have you heard about the latest innovations in AI?
Yes.
What do you feel?
I think it's unstoppable, frightening, and a big concern for humanity in general.
People said that about the wheel, though, didn't they?
Or fire.
Fire. Fire. The big wheel keeps on turning and the big burner keeps burning.
No, but that is not a specific subject of music. That's a general subject, and I think that it is. There's so many films and dramas based now around AI and the fact. In fact, I saw a video yesterday that was sent to me by one of my mates of a film star. I won't say who she is, but a stunningly, gorgeously beautiful film star, grade A celebrity, doing porn, and you cannot. It was only 2 minutes.
Lorraine Kelly?
Only 2 minutes.
But my point is, you cannot. I defy anyone to try and say it's not real. It's absolutely 100% real, and
Yeah.
it's not her.
Yeah.
It's frighteningly, and AI is. This is why I go back to a comment I made earlier. This is why you should never believe just because it's on the news, or just because it's on the telly, or just because it's on the internet. Don't believe anything unless you really analyze it, think critically about it, and establish the facts. Because I tell you what, humanity, is just at the cusp of not understanding what is real and what is not.
We could be blindly just walking off a cliff.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's not specifically a music subject, but that is the answer from my perspective to that question. Everything about AI is impinging on reality.
It's going to be there, and it's going to alter a lot of things within the music industry and in life in general. And possibly for the worse.
Yeah, I think absolutely for the worst.
But I think humans as we are, we need to be creative. And we'll always have that desire to create live music, to create music, even if it's just banging on a log.
Why do you think AI is not very creative then?
Well,
Some AI can be more creative than most humans.
No, what I mean is instead of having some bloke, some singer singing like Stevie Wonder, but it's actually Liam Gallagher, it'll be somebody in a club doing a song, because they have to get in front of people. They have to create original music. They need that feedback from their audience. AI doesn't live in a club.
Not yet.
I guess,
unless we're going to get an hologram on stage. But
No. Robotics.
We're going to get that. But
Deb's son is a brilliant robotics engineer. He's shown me some things which are incredible. Today, it's all out there already. It's out there.
Yeah,
There are robots that you can't tell the difference.
well, there are
We're early stages, but you can't. I mean, just at Head and Shoulders, you can't tell the difference between human. Even the questions that are raised at that AI piece of equipment is scary, because they can answer anything.
Oh yeah, they're almost surpassing Einstein, and the concern is that, so we all know how smart Einstein was, and let's say he's 40 above the general public, right, of the IQ test. They're saying that in 10 years' time, AI will be like 1,000 times smarter than Einstein. But with regards to robotics, there's this pocket called uncanny valley. So if things become too perfect, it doesn't seem real. You sort of detach from it. So going back to
what you said before, we like imperfection.
emotion.
But you can
Emotion,
install
so-
imperfections
You
into
can.
robotics.
But how? So Adele's a really good singer, but she's not perfect, and the imperfections make her the really good singer.
That's right.
But I know what you're saying about they can install the imperfections there, but how? Yeah, I guess they can do it. Yeah, well, we're screwed. That's it. We're screwed.
Well, this is the point. We are, in fact, Elon Musk has actually thrown into the pot the big questions, which is, are we actually looking at AI with a view to being so careful that we don't allow AI to be anything other than protecting humans? You know.
Well,
I know it's a stupidly wide subject, and we can talk about that into the future. But you know, I'm talking in general. You've raised the question, and
This is-
most people don't
Well,
realise.
we've raised it before
Yeah.
on this podcast.
Most people don't. They are ignorant to the fact that AI is not science fiction anymore.
No,
it's
no,
real.
We're living in Star Wars.
We are already at a stage where most society have no idea how far that has gone because it's not been released to people. It is so far advanced that it's people like Elon Musk, who are pretty intelligent people, they are seriously concerned about AI. Seriously concerned.
Yeah.
Because they know how far it's gone. Because the general public don't know yet.
He was one of the first investors into OpenAI, but he pulled out through because of disagreements with the way it's going to run. And one of the baseline rules was, okay, we don't allow it access to the internet. They allowed it access to the internet, and then
When it
it's
starts to self-learn, that's the problem, isn't it?
well, it's not necessarily a problem that it self-learns. It's a problem that it can learn how to manipulate us into its own agenda. Like you could say to it, okay, we need to cure global warming. Help us cure global warming, and it might come to the decision. Well, humans are bad for the global warming, so we need to get rid of humans. That's their direct route to the main issue.
Yeah.
And their equivalent of money would probably be energy, power, so they could take control of the power grids and they could redirect to where the power's...
You've all seen Terminator.
Well, there's a recent film that's come out on Netflix which actually addresses that issue about... I wish I could remember. I'm very old. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's on Netflix now. It's an absolutely brilliant film because it actually tackles that subject. And it basically says that AI actually has so much... in this storyline, AI has so much computing power that it can actually, even for those which have an air block between the AI controlling it and not, it can actually then get into systems that control planes, and it can actually control what people want to do, but to protect themselves from the AI, but the AI will find a way of getting around it. Even power stations, the AI can actually get into control power stations, so it will wipe out power, and it can control aircrafts, and it can control, because everything's computerized, everything. Traffic systems, aircraft control.
It's a scary thought.
Everything is controllable by computers.
Where do you stop
telephones, communications.
Where do you stop it? Or where does it stop?
That's the thing. There's no plug you pull out and say, "Well, that's stop that then," isn't
No.
it? Because it
Pour water
doesn't
on it.
work that way.
And it'll just keep evolving and evolving and evolving and evolving.
So it's a great question, not related directly to music, but it's a great question. But it's a question which you could talk about for a long time. With the
The problem is we don't have an answer.
And we don't have a long time.
We don't know how it's going to play out. Do we?
No, but specifically, we don't have a long time. So, in
Oh, so in
conclusion,
that
there's nothing artificial or intelligent about us.
Well,
So,
you say that. Okay. Are you trying to say you want to bring this one to a close?
did you get that?
Yeah. Well, I've got one quick
Oh, he's not
question.
going to let you do it.
So, as we spoke about, you are a singer in
Yes.
the local band.
Yes.
If you were going to give any encouragement to other people, how would you go around learning a new song that you don't know, that your band said, what about covering this? How would you tackle that for anybody that's thinking
As a
of
band,
getting
as
into
a
singer?
singer, as a vocalist?
As a band
Both.
and as
I'll go for both.
a vocalist. For anybody that's wanting to start a new band up
Well, that's an interesting question.
and they're not really sure which way to go.
Well, when the song is agreed upon, the first question is, are we capable of doing it? Vocal range, guitar prowess, drums, are we capable? If we think we are, what we do is we all go away, listen to it. Each member of the band has their own particular part in it. The guitarist has to be able to eloquently be able to do the solo as well as the chords and all the rest of it. But what we do then is go away, learn our own part from a vocalist point of view. It's how you express the song and the intonation, the way you structure it. If we as a band try and do it as close to the original as possible. So we don't like this theme of we'll do it in our own style. That in our humble opinion, we try and stay away from that. We want to try and be as close as possible to the original.
Is that one of yours?
That's my mum. Sorry about that, gentlemen. But the answer to that is that when we get together at rehearsals, we all come together and try it from the beginning, and it takes time after time after time to get it right. But my mum is very,
He had the same problem, don't worry.
Yeah.
So the answer is hard work and getting stuck into your own individual part, and then trying to get together at rehearsal and trying to make it work together. And of course, there's always from my point of view, there's always me coming in at the wrong time or not coming in when I should do, understanding the structure. And you know what? Even when we do it live, still make mistakes. But you know what? That's live music.
It is.
We try not to, and most of the time we don't. But there are times when we do, and when we do, it's a case of just get to the end of the song. The audience might not have heard that.
when you're doing your set list and you get to certain songs, do you ever think, oh, not this one again?
Yes. And a point, in fact, was we used to do at the closing stages of the gig, because it's a real banger and people love dancing and all the rest of it, is Sex on Fire. Great. I was sick to death of it because it was played and played and played, and it was a great song, but that was one in point. Yeah. The other thing, though, is very important, which is on that subject, is when you are putting a set list together, you really need to try and understand the audience. And most audiences, as they drink and as they get further down the pint, they like to be a bit more lively. So, you at the end of the session, you bring in dancing numbers and more lively numbers so that the audience kind of gets a bit more lively, because you want to end with a flourish. You don't want to end with a boring song and get people thinking, that was all right. We want them to leave excited. So I love it. I absolutely love it. I could talk all night about it because I like talking about myself. But that's the answer.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.